Welcome to the Birth Room Podcast, where holy ground meets bare feet and the wilderness of labor enters sacred space. We are your hosts, Sydney Hagan and Nichole Smith. I'm Sydney, founder of Untamed Birth, birthkeeper and educator, mother of 3, 2 of which born unassisted at home.
And I'm Nichole, founder of the ReWild Birth Collective, birth servant and herbalist. I'm also the mother to 5 wildly wonderful children who were all born at home.
Together, we invite you into honest conversations at the threshold of life, where birth is not a medical event to be managed, but a holy unfolding, raw, reverent, and real, rooted in radical responsibility. The birth room is not one place. It takes many forms. Sterile halls, candlelit bedrooms, quiet tubs, moving cars or crowded clinics, linen sheets, plastic covers, or bare ground. But no matter where it unfolds, birth is holy ground. It is where the veil thins, the breath of God hovers close. In cries and stillness, in pain and power, birth is sacred. Welcome to the birth room. Stories, wisdom, and truth from the edge of life's beginning.
Hi, Sydney.
Hi.
I'm excited to hear your birth stories.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about it when I was hiring, or I guess interviewing you to be my doula. And that's a whole other story for another day. But yeah, we talked about it a little bit, but it's a little, the first one for me is a little fuzzy, so I don't think I shared a whole lot on that one. But yeah, I'm excited to talk about all of them.
All right, so before you share your story, let's unpack a little bit of your mindset around birth. What did you feel like going into your birth? Did you trust birth? Were you, around birth? Did you talk about birth? What were your mom's deliveries like?
So I was never really around birth. The only birth I was really around was the birth of my youngest brother. I was 10 years old. And by the time mom was pushing, she was like, get the kids out. Yeah. And I honestly don't even remember meeting him after the birth. And that's bad because I was 10 years old. Like I should have remembered that, but I have an awful memory of my childhood. So yeah, I was not really around birth, but I have 3 siblings, and my mom had all 4 of us with a midwife in a hospital, which is cool. We'll bring that back into the second birth, my second birth. And she had them all without an epidural. And they were all pretty fast. I think most of them were considered precipitous, but they were all under 6 hours. Okay. So
you had a pretty good mindset.
I did. Yeah, I did.
You knew that it worked. You've seen, you're the mom in your life.
Yeah.
With little or no issue.
I remember even before having kids, like when men would talk about birth and like, oh, it was more painful than birth. And I'm like, shut up. There's nothing more painful than birth. We are rock stars. Like you can't do what we do. And now I'm like, oh, birth doesn't have to be painful. Like it doesn't have to be the most painful thing on the planet. But that was my mindset. It was, no, birth is the most painful thing you can do. The only thing worse than that is
kidney stones.
Burning alive.
Or burning alive.
Yeah. And so that was my mindset, was birth is painful, but we're rock stars. And my mom did it without pain meds. I can do it without pain meds. Awesome. So that was my mindset. I didn't necessarily trust birth. Yeah. I trusted my ability to birth. Okay. And because my mom had. And of course, many other women, but mom was my role model. So yeah, I went into it thinking I knew a lot more than I did. Yeah. And even I did a little bit of research, because that's me. I like doing research, but I didn't do nearly the research that I now do, because I did very surface level, because I didn't even know free birth was a thing. I wanted to have a home birth with a midwife, but in Tennessee, that wasn't, in my area at least, they were not easily found. I don't know if they're there. But when I was Googling midwives, of course, what pops up is the ones that are attached to OB offices. So that's what I ended up going with my first. Yeah, there's a very, very clear difference now, knowing the differences between midwives and places of birth. It was, they called it a birth center.
Right.
It was attached to a hospital, and it was a hospital just in a fancy room.
Yeah, which we all know. Birth center is code, if it's attached to a hospital, birth center is code for bigger, better, bougie room that you don't have to leave in different phases of labor.
Yeah.
But it doesn't necessarily mean anything more natural or close to home.
Yeah. So I hate to even call it a birth center, because now, like, knowing what an actual birth center is, that wasn't it.
Yeah.
That was not it.
I think that's an important thing to bring up and touch on, because women don't know. And especially for a first-time mom, you think, oh, midwife, check.
Yeah.
Birth center, check. Birth plan, check. You know, all these things you just don't know.
Yeah, exactly. So that, I walked away from that entire experience with, okay, that was a good experience. Like, I would recommend this midwife to people. I would recommend this practice to people.
Yeah.
I never saw an OB until I was in labor. And I didn't see an OB when I went to the hospital. It was just the midwife. And the midwife that ended up being there, I had never even seen her during an appointment. So that was a whole other thing. There was, like, I think 3 or 4 midwives in the practice, and I always wanted to schedule with 1 or 2 of them. So I would purposely schedule my prenatal appointments with those midwives. And they weren't even on call. So Ethan was Marine Corps, and we were in California. We were stationed in California, and we were in the middle of buying a house in Tennessee when we were going through fertility treatment, because and I knew, like, there was something. We hadn't been trying for super long. Yeah. And we even fibbed. We were like, yeah, we've been trying for over a year, but we hadn't. But I knew something wasn't right. And so I went to this really bougie fertility clinic in California, and they did all the tests. They did the HSG, SHG, HSG and SHG, I think, were the 2 main ones. And then they did an ultrasound. So they found polyps on the opening of my cervix with the transvaginal ultrasound. And they found that my fallopian tubes were blocked when they did the SHG or the HSG. I can't remember. One of those 2. Okay. So one of my fallopian tubes was fully blocked, and the other fallopian tube was blocked, but it flushed out during the procedure. Okay. So I went in for a hysteroscopy for the polyps on the opening of my cervix at this nice bougie place. I guess if I'm comparing they wheeled us out the back, and when I had my wisdom teeth out.
You are out of here. You are crazy, and you are out.
Yeah, I think it was because it was so late in the day. It was already like nighttime by the time we were done. It was dark out. And so they just wheeled us out the back. My mom had pulled up the car to the back. Like, they just, on our way. Yeah. So my theory was his sperm couldn't pass through my cervix to implant.
Right.
So I was thinking, okay, so that hopefully fixed that issue. But they called and told me, your best bet of getting pregnant is going to be IVF. Mm-hmm. And I was not accepting that answer. Yeah. I was like, that seems extreme. We can't afford that because TRICARE is not going to pay for that. Yeah. They only pay a percentage of IUI, and they pay 100% of the Clomid Albuterol. So I was like, I think that's crazy. That doesn't feel right to me at all. That's not my story. And I'm going to take my business elsewhere, because I think you're just trying to get money out of me at this point. Because I was so compliant with all the other tests, because I was like, I wanted to figure out what's going on. Yeah. And I was just going with the flow with what they wanted to do. And I feel like they were starting to take advantage. Yeah. So I found this little hole in the wall place in California. And it was this Indian guy, Indian doctor or whatever. And I told him what was going on. And I was like, we want to try clomidogrel before we do anything else.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we just can't afford the other stuff. And I just I feel like that's way too invasive. Yeah. So we were in the middle of buying a house, did our first round of clomidogrel, found out that we needed to be in the house after we close on it within like 2 or 3 months as per VA loan guidelines or rules, whatever. And I was like, man, I don't know, like, I can't just leave you for, like, that's silly.
Yeah.
So we were like, okay, let's just wait. Probably didn't work this time. Let's just, take a few months of a break and come back and try another round or 2 of clomidogrel after we've closed on the house and figure out, how we're going to do this, how we're going to swing this. And we, the next week, found out we were pregnant.
That's so cool. I was like, actually,
yeah,
a little bit different story.
Yeah, and it all ended up working out for the best. Yeah. I mean, it was definitely a hard season, but so we found out we were pregnant in January, and he was set to leave in October, and Declan's due date was October 14th. So he was potentially going to miss the birth and definitely going to miss the first few months being on deployment. He was either going to be on a boat, which was really going to suck, or he was going to be in Afghanistan.
Which would also really suck.
It would really suck, but as far as communication goes, being on a boat is a lot more difficult.
Yes.
I don't want to be alone in California. You leave, I go into labor, I'm by myself. Mm-hmm. I have a new baby in California by myself, 3,000 miles away from family. I don't want to do that. And I also don't want to have a baby, even if you are there for the birth, and then you leave, and then I have to move a newborn baby and 2 dogs 3,000 miles across country just so I can be closer to family and have help while you're on deployment. I don't want to do that. Yeah. That sounds miserable. I'm not doing it. Yeah. So we decided we'd close on the house and I would go to Tennessee and establish care. And then later, things kind of worked out where the deployment he was going to go on was going to extend past his contract. And so they were trying to get him to extend his contract. Mm-hmm. And he was like, I'm not going to do that. And they were like, well, fine, I guess you're going to be there for the birth of your son. Oh, darn. It's like, I sure will be.
That's awesome. That's so
Yeah,
cool.
So he ended up getting out and he was able to take a lot more leave because he kind of got put into an admin sort of role because he wasn't going to be training with the guys anymore that are going on deployment. Right. Since he wasn't going. So he was just kind of doing some classes while he was in and just kind of twiddling his thumbs, just waiting until his contract ended.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So about 3 days before I went into labor, he took leave and flew out, and he had 4 weeks of leave, I think then. 3 or 4 weeks, I can't remember. Now it's they get 3 months or something. Where was that?
We were having our babies.
Yeah. So he got a few weeks. And so he flew in that day. My mom was already there, so we went to the airport together to pick him up. And she had us watch birth videos, and she had us do all of these things because my mom had to become a doula in order to be there for the birth because this was 2020 during COVID. And it was a hospital.
Yeah.
So their rule was you can have 1 birth partner and a doula.
Okay.
And she had to be a certified doula. And they didn't even check her credentials when she got there. So yeah, Ethan flew in. That first day, we did a bunch of birth partner prep stuff. That second day, we had our maternity photos. That third day, I went into labor. I started having, I didn't go. I'm still not sure. It was kind of prodromal.
Share
I
the
guess.
story about being with your gram because I think that's important.
Yeah. So I was. Ethan was at the house doing home projects because that's what I do when I'm pregnant. Apparently, that's my nesting.
Yeah, me too.
We had ripped out the floors in our bedroom, and we were doing some stuff to the wall. He was painting, so I wanted to get out of the house. Our mattress was on the living room floor.
Oh my goodness.
So me and Mom were over at my grandma's. She made dinner, and we were just hanging out. And I started having these, what I thought was Braxton Hicks, but it was a little bit stronger. And I was like, I can time these.
Yeah.
That's kind of fun. And I was so excited. We were all so excited. And so I was just kind of sitting on the birth ball, timing contractions, and Mom was like, okay, do you want to go home and get some rest? It was like 7 o'clock. She was like, do you want to go home and get some rest just in case this is the real deal? You know, go home, take a shower, eat something, get some rest. And so that's what we did. Things fizzled out after I took a shower. So I got, 2-3 hours of sleep on the living room floor and woke up about 3:30 in the morning. I went to the bathroom and lost my mucus plug. And I could not go back to sleep after that. Contractions started to pick up. Yeah. Ethan's sound asleep next to me while I'm wide awake, timing these contractions, working through them. And I start, moaning through them, getting a little vocal through them. And Mom hears me at some point before 6 a.m., comes out of the room, and we call the practice to see what they think we should do. And, I couldn't talk through contractions. I was, because I probably could have if I really tried, but I was focused on trying to get through the contractions. And so they were like, okay, well, if you want to, start heading this way, because we lived an hour away. Because this practice I was going to was the second place that I landed on because it came highly recommended because of the fertility stuff that we did. The first place was classifying me as high risk. And I remember showing up and they gave me this thick packet of things I can and can't do, things I can and can't eat, all of the procedures, all of the vaccines, all of the, all the prenatal stuff. And I was like, this is a lot.
Yeah, this is a little more intense than I said.
Really intense, yeah. So I found this other place that came, higher recommended. And I thought I knew I was doing like what was best, and maybe in that season of life that was what was best. I don't know. Thinking back, I do wish I had dug a little deeper to find a home birth midwife.
Yeah.
But then again, I didn't feel like our home in Tennessee. I didn't feel super comfortable in it. So, I don't know. Maybe it was God just saying like, this is where you just need to be.
I feel like that's so true. I think we as moms judge ourselves when we do learn new information.
Yeah.
Because our heart is to always have the best for our kids and to do the best. But we really can only do as well as we know to do. You know? And I think there's grace in that, and I think it helps to build our story. And we'll see, it paints your story in the direction that you'll go and share. And you wouldn't have that story if you didn't have this experience, right? If you had just had a home birth with a midwife, that may have been a totally different story,
right?
So I feel like all these little bits and pieces we have to be thankful for, even if we look back and we're like, oh, I wish I would have done it differently. I feel like it still shapes who we are today,
right?
It makes us better humans.
Yeah, you can't go back and change it. I do want to go back and talk a little bit because earlier you asked how the appointments were, and I feel like this is really important.
Yes.
I thought I was doing really good. Like I had heard somewhere like, make sure you ask what their episiotomy rate is, and that kind of stuff. And I was doing all the things. I talked to them about my birth plan at every appointment. I asked them the questions I thought were important. But the way appointments went with them was, okay, so I'm Rh negative. And they're like, okay, at the next appointment, you have to get your Rh shot. And I just kind of went with it because I didn't know there were other options. I didn't know I could say no.
They didn't give you opportunity for informed consent.
Yeah, and I knew nothing about RoGAM. Absolutely nothing. I was like, oh, I don't know what that means. But okay.
Yeah.
And thinking back on it, I get so mad at myself over some of these things. I'm like, why was I so compliant? Why? Because it's just ingrained into us just through society, because this is the birth culture. When you don't know, like when you don't have any experience with birth, this is just what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I just kind of went with it, and they just framed it as, okay, this is what's next. This is what check this off, you know. And it wasn't a conversation, and I didn't know I could. No, I don't want to say I didn't know I could ask questions, because I knew I could ask questions. I just didn't know what questions to ask.
Well, and I think when they're not informing you that when they're presenting something to you as this is the next thing that you do, they're doing it in such a way that you don't even realize to question it,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's kind of like when you're learning to drive. Well, first you push the gas pedal to go, and then you push the brake to stop.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think,
Okay,
like,
but why?
well, yeah, you're not thinking, well, do I need to like shift? What do I need to do in between? And why am I accelerating first? And,
Yeah.
you know, because of how it's being presented. And
Mhm.
so had they given you that opportunity to choose
Right.
or to understand, then you might have known, oh, I should question here because there's two choices. It's
Yeah.
not just this is what you do.
Right.
This is a possibility of something that you can do, but it's not firm
Right.
and fast.
Right.
And they don't present it that way. They don't
Exactly. They have a protocol. They have a process. They have that's just what they do. So that's how they phrase it to everyone else. And it doesn't make them bad people, because that's just how they're trained to do it.
Right.
But it's very frustrating that that's a part of the system.
Yeah.
And yeah, I wish I had known better, and I wish I had asked more questions, and I wish I had done my own independent research.
Yeah.
And not just relied on their answers.
Do you remember how long were your visits? Do you remember, like, did it feel like you were?
So it did feel like every time I had questions, they were like, they were trying to like get through them quickly.
Mm-hmm.
It did feel like they were not ready to like sit down with me for an hour and talk.
Yeah.
Some appointments were like, they would sit down with me because Mom came with me to some of them. So we both, had questions and all of that. But for the most part, it just felt very like, okay, let's get through with this. I'll answer all your questions. Do you have any more? Okay, bye.
Yeah. And Ethan hadn't been to any appointments.
None.
He's still in California. So his first time interacting, we'll hear about in your delivery.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
And so I had not seen an OB at any appointment. And the only time that I did was when we made it to the practice for them to check me.
Yeah.
And of course, that's the one Ethan was at. And so he had to sit and watch a male OB put his fingers inside his wife's vagina. And he was so uncomfortable. And of course, it was like the one time I saw the male OB.
Yeah, of course.
And, I'm not comfortable with it either. But I was in labor, and I remember walking into the place and having to like brace myself on the wall during a contraction. And they like got me in really quickly because I was a distraction in the waiting room. And
oh my goodness.
yeah, so and I don't even remember what I was dilated to when he checked. He had to stop because I was having a contraction, and he waited until after the contraction before checking. But yeah, it was, just not a fun memory to look back on.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's back up a little bit. So you call in, they say, come in, we'll check you out, and, maybe you'll go off on your way. At some point, you go to this sweet little coffee shop.
Yeah.
So talk about that.
So this little coffee shop, cafe-like thing, they had some food. They had amazing little flatbreads me and Mom would go to after every midwife appointment that I would have, because it was right there by the hospital. And so we went. They checked me, or he checked me, and he was like, okay, well, you can kind of wait maybe an hour to go out to eat, go walk the mall, whatever, all the things they suggest. And this was a college town, so I don't even remember if they had a mall. But
which is kind of awesome that he didn't just admit you, because a lot of doctors will admit moms in early labor, or even, on the verge of active labor, when really they probably don't need to be admitted,
Yeah.
but just for convenience, like just get them in and get them hooked up. And
yeah, and maybe that had to do with the fact that it was a birth center and there were huge rooms, and maybe they just didn't have the capacity to just send women in early labor.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But thankfully, you didn't have to sit in the room. You got to go and enjoy it. So talk about the little experience in the car.
So I stayed in the car, and Mom and Ethan went in to get food, and I was, windows down because it was October in Tennessee, so it was beautiful weather. And and it was like 5 days early before my due date that I went into labor. And so I was laboring in the car, and they were talking. Like, my mom came back out, and she was like, "They're talking about you in there." Someone came in and said, "There's a girl laboring in the parking lot." And one of them was like, "Oh, shouldn't she be at the hospital? It's right there." And the other one was like, "No, she's doing exactly what she needs to do, waiting as long as she can." And it was just a cute little interaction.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. And then the next day or the day after that, when I had to bring Declan back for a bilirubin test, which we'll get into, we went back in, and I was like, "Look, this was me."
Oh my goodness. I love that.
Yeah, it was a cute little memory. So yeah, that labor was rough, but I didn't take any birth classes or anything, so I didn't know the physiology. I didn't know the fear, tension, pain cycle. I didn't know, all the things you would learn in a birth class.
Yes.
Not connected to a hospital.
Yes. Uh-huh.
So I thought I knew a lot, and I just didn't. Getting into the labor, I remember, it's so fuzzy for me, but I remember like white knuckling, laying on the side and white knuckling the handle on the side of the hospital bed, and Mom like putting one of those moldable squishy balls on the handle for me to squeeze, because I was I was squeezing so hard. I was yelling, screaming through contractions. I remember during what I now know is the resting phase.
Uh-huh.
One of the nurses came in to check to adjust the heart rate, and she wanted to get the heart rate during a contraction, and there was like 3 minutes between the contraction, and she was like, "Are we sure she's in labor?" And I was like,
"I'm gonna punch you."
But I was so out of it. I was like, I cannot even deal with this woman. And that same woman, I have video of me pushing. She's in the corner with her arms crossed watching. And I'm like, watching that video back, I'm like, I wish someone would have kicked her snooty little butt out of the hospital, out of the room.
Yeah.
Like, I cannot. I was so mad.
Wow.
Yeah. She's like, "Are we sure she's in labor?" As I'm screaming through contractions.
Yes. And then resting right before pushing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. He was born like an hour and a half after that, 2 hours after that. But because pushing was an hour and a half. And
can be typical.
Yeah.
Especially for a first time mom.
Yeah. I do think I was scared to try different positions once I found. So I ended up getting on elbows and knees.
Okay.
Which,
Anti-gravity,
almost worse than on your back, depending.
Yeah.
So I stayed in that position for a while, and I had such awful back pain in postpartum because of that. It was rough. And the midwife tried telling me to, or she said, try turning over, and I, like mid-turn, I started getting a contraction. I was like, no.
Yeah.
And I went back to elbows and knees for a little bit longer. And then finally I ended up flipping over into a recline.
Okay. So
not fully on my back, but in a recline on my back.
And were your feet in the stirrups, or were you on the bed? Do you remember those details?
I don't remember. I think my legs were being held.
Okay.
I just don't remember. That was such an animalistic, like the guttural sounds that came out of me. I was like, I didn't know I could make these sounds. This is wow. Looking back at the video, but
puts a whole
in the moment, I'm like,
on that song, "I Am Woman, Hear Me Roar."
Yeah.
Like,
Literally?
Yeah.
Literally
do,
hear me roar.
actually.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes. And I do. I roar every baby out.
Yeah.
But I labor differently with each one. I have labored differently with each one, which we'll get into. But so pushing for an hour and a half, and I remember asking like so many times, is anything happening?
Yeah.
And this midwife is, do you feel like anything's happening?
Give me some feedback.
Yeah, I was so mad after the fact. I'm like, what is that answer?
Yeah. Not an
Do you
answer.
feel like anything's happening? Yes, I'm pushing, but I can't see what's going on.
Well, and at that point, you're not feeling all of the minute little details, the shifts, the changes, the moving down.
Right. Well, because I don't know what's happening. I don't know the physiology of birth.
Yeah.
So I'm just going off of, I just push a baby out of my body and it's going to be painful.
And it's taking long. So in your mind, you think nothing's happening.
Right.
Because it's not.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I feel like something's happening, but I don't see what's happening. I'm asking you because you're the one in between my legs staring at my crotch.
Yeah. Seeing there.
Is anything happening down there that I can't see?
Yeah.
You know, and she's like, well, do you feel like anything's happening?
Yeah, a whole lot, lady.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh
Thinking back on it, like in that moment, I mean, I was just so focused on pushing and trying to get this baby out that wasn't like, I mean, it bothered me, but I wasn't like gonna say anything about it.
Yeah.
And yeah, so pushing an hour and a half. The weirdest feeling in the world as a first-time mom is a warm, wet baby being placed on your stomach.
Uh-huh.
I still remember that feeling, and I'm like,
what's happening?
What is this feeling? What is this? And it's not a gross feeling, but it's a very different.
Well, when you're so full and you go from this full uncomfortable to a void with this external sensation of gooey, sticky,
warm, like I was like, oh my gosh, what is this? And it was a cool, I still remember that feeling, and I've never felt anything like that before. And yeah, it was.
So you delivered.
I delivered.
Back you up a little bit. So he delivers, and she places him on your belly, not up at your chest, but on your belly.
On my belly. She just puts him right on my belly, and there was meconium.
Okay. Any cords or anything?
I don't remember. I think now I know they said the cord was wrapped around his neck and his body.
Okay.
But I mean, that's normal. I didn't think anything of it because I didn't know that was an issue. I think it was just a cool little thing that I thought was, oh yeah, the cord is wrapped around his neck and his body. And I thought that was contributing to how long I was pushing, but no, I don't think so now thinking back on it. I didn't have a short cord or anything, but there was meconium. So they did take him away. They clamped and cut the cord immediately because of the meconium, which now I'm like, wouldn't you want to keep that? If there's meconium and there's risk of aspiration, you want baby to have their oxygen supply. Why would you clamp it and cut it? Yeah. So that's one of those other things where I was like, I wanted delayed cord clamping, and they didn't do that. So place baby on my belly, clamped, cut, took him away.
Aww.
And while she's doing traction on the cord, all of the nurses are over in the corner. Ethan's over there too. And I'm like, I hear him crying. But I'm like, is he okay? Because they took him away. Yeah. Like, is he okay?
And can you see him?
I can't see him. I can't see him. He's in the corner. And there are like 5 nurses in the room surrounding. And Ethan's over there. And they get him cleaned off and wrapped up. And I'm like, also thinking back, and I'm like, why do they do this? Yeah. Why do they just don't understand. They don't understand the importance of skin to skin, even in a midwife-led birth center hospital. I'm like,
well, and the importance of leaving the vernix on. That's their external microbiome that protects their fresh skin from this harsh new environment.
Yeah, and I'm left over here like shell-shocked after pushing a baby out of my body and then having that baby on my belly and then whisked away for no good reason. He was doing fine. They didn't have to do any resuscitation or anything.
And everything that they did on that table, they could have done on your belly.
Right.
And we know that as home birth.
Right, exactly. And yeah, just thinking back on that, I'm like, oh, man, that's a real bummer that's how that had to go.
Yeah.
And but I didn't put that in my birth plan either. I don't think. I did say I wanted immediate skin to skin.
But clearly they didn't honor much of your birth plan,
Right.
because they probably didn't even read it.
Right.
Which is the sad
So,
truth about birth plans. Like,
yeah.
if we're being real, most birth plans are not read.
Right. Yeah.
So.
And that's why, and I kind of knew that also. So that's why I talked about my birth plan at every appointment. And even with them knowing, us talking about it, I don't feel like they just go through the motions. They don't really listen.
Yeah.
They just go through what they know the process on their end is, whatever their protocol is or their policy.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't really listen to patients. And it's really so disheartening.
I've had some humbling moments as a teacher, teaching little kids to read. And I have a plan and I have an agenda for executing this, because I have, however many children that I'm teaching to read all at once, 12, 15. And I've actually had a moment of compassion for them, because I've gotten into this rhythm, and then, one kid is kind of veering outside of my, process that I want to get through in a day in, 1 hour, and I have this much time and this much per child. And I realized just recently, actually, I was like, wow, this must be similar to the birth world. And, they're trained in a protocol. They're expected to process this protocol a certain way for insurance and for liability and for blah, 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 all these things. And how easy it is to slip into that and to forget to see each human for who they are. So I had just this little window of like, like
you get too caught up in the mechanics of it.
The mechanics, nobody's immune to that. So I have a little compassion, and I'm thankful for that. But I also am aware of how easy it is to slip into that. And so I'm going to always purpose to check myself and check in with the human.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, so back to your...
Yeah, and I wish that was taught in, not even just in birth, but in the medical model, because it is just so mechanic in the entire medical world.
I think not just in the medical world, but... because we are Westerners, and because we are of an age that came after the logic age and the, Aristotle and all these fathers of logic and idea, we've moved away from the intuitive, spiritual side of humanity, and we don't function in that realm a lot, in that connective, take time, process.
We see it in everything. And even just in birth and parenting alone, and marriages, and even in therapy, there's a protocol and everything. And I mean, you put your baby on a schedule because it's mechanic, and as it does, it's
if
with everything.
Baby wise, throw it out the window. I'm gonna just plug that here.
Some people swear by those schedules, but
All right, so he's in the corner, and you're asking, "Are you?"
Is he okay? And I'm feeling, I'm getting that rush of hormones.
Yeah.
And so I don't feel panicked or anything, but I'm like, I can't see him, so I'm like, "Is he okay?" And they're like, "Yeah, he's fine." And they bring him over, and the midwife's doing traction on the cord, and I'm like, and I feel her tugging at it, and I'm like, do I need to be pushing? Because I told her I wanted I wanted to birth the placenta naturally.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that they didn't follow. And she was like, "Do you feel like pushing?"
Oh my goodness.
I twitch.
Listen, lady.
Yeah. And I mean, she was otherwise they left us alone the entire labor because my mom was there to help us through that. And there were a couple times when mom had to leave the room just to cry for a second, because just seeing me go through all of that, what didn't have to be so painful, but it was painful. I mean, I was screaming through contractions.
We do have to have a grandma episode. We definitely need to get our moms on here.
We do. I really want her to share her. Yeah. Yeah, and I want her to talk about her births a little bit too.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, I look over. They bring Declan back to me. The placenta's out. They asked what I wanted to do with it. It's still in my grandmother's freezer. It's been 5 years.
I was going to say Declan is 5. Okay.
And my grandmother's now passed, so I don't know what's happened to that. Anyway, so I've got Declan in my arms.
Is he swaddled?
He's swaddled.
So they wiped him all off. They swaddle him up.
Put a hat on him.
So this harkens back to like the 70s where they're like wrapping these babies up. And, okay.
Yeah.
So did you unfurl him as soon as you got him?
I got to his hands because I wanted to see his little fingers, but and I don't remember if I don't remember if I did anything else. I know at some point I did, but not right in that moment.
Yeah.
So I've got Declan. I look over and I see they've got me hooked up to an IV. Mm-hmm. And I say, "What's that?" And they're like, "That's Pitocin." After the placenta's been delivered, mind you. And I'm so exhausted and in that rush of hormones with my baby in my arms that I just say, okay.
Oh. And that was also on your birth plan?
It was also on my birth plan. No Pitocin. I don't want Pitocin. I have a history of depression. I do not want Pitocin.
Yeah. And
they ignored it. Mm. And they didn't even tell me they were hooking me up to it.
And you didn't know because you were so in birthland.
Yeah. I'm still mad about that.
Detail of when they hooked you up? Do you know if
she didn't see it either.
Okay.
Yeah. None of us saw him do it.
Mm.
Yeah. I'm sure Mom was also in that like new baby, like her first grandbaby. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. So yeah, it was rough thinking back on it, but in that moment, it was like, that was the only thing I remember being like, dang, I wish they hadn't have done that. That was not what I wanted. And then also that nurse, that stupid nurse.
Yeah, the grabby one in the corner.
With her arms crossed. Are we sure she's in labor? While I, just after transition, about to start pushing.
Oh my goodness.
Ugh, yeah.
So that brings us to my second. We had just moved from Tennessee.
Yep.
And we were living at my parents' house for a little bit.
Here?
Yes, here in Camden.
Okay.
And we were trying to conceive our second, and we were not successful, but I was still breastfeeding.
Okay.
And we actually started going back to the fertility clinic. Well, not the same one, obviously, but we started going to a fertility clinic in Virginia.
Okay.
And we were set to start our first round of Clomid and Avidrel. We moved into our new house. We had to live with my parents for a couple of months while we closed on the house here. So we moved into our new house, going through the fertility testing stuff again, ready to start Clomid and Avidrel, because I went in and I was like, look, we're having trouble again. This is what worked for us last time, so this is what we want to do. And so I bought all the medication, went to all the appointments, and we were set to start our first round of Clomid and Avidrel. And then I took a positive pregnancy test.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Then that was just God being like, okay, you're going a little bit too fast here.
Yeah.
I have a plan for you.
Yep.
Chill out.
Let me do the things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool.
That was a nice reminder for me because I was kind of discouraged from our first experience.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't conceive naturally. But looking back, we probably would have conceived naturally if we had just,
waited a bit or kept trying, whatever.
Yeah, but I was just in a hurry. I was like, hurry, 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 I want a baby.
Yeah. So you're pregnant with Estelle.
And I should note, my first pregnancy was a dream, aside from Ethan being gone the whole time. And, that kind of sucked. I did have my mom come a lot to Tennessee. She came to a few of the appointments with me, and that was nice. But I had a dream pregnancy as far as whatever symptoms I did have were very mild. And
So going into this second pregnancy, I was so excited.
Yeah.
But the morning sickness was god awful with Estelle. Now,
yeah.
I never went to go see an OB or a midwife or anything like that, at least locally. At some point when we decided to go unassisted, my compromise with Ethan was that I would get prenatal care with a midwife in Virginia, which most of those appointments were done virtually.
Yeah.
Because I was declining all the tests and stuff anyway. So really all she was doing was just like checking baby's position and heart rate and stuff at appointments and just checking in with me. So it's like, I can do this at home.
Yeah. So you didn't start at all, or when did you start, and when, like, what was the stint of seeing the midwife in Virginia?
I got a blood test done to confirm pregnancy with the practice that had midwives.
Got it.
And I told them that, you know, at my first appointment, I was like, okay, so I am probably going to be declining pretty much all of the tests that you guys want to do. And the midwife was like, well, then we probably won't take you on as a patient. And I was like, cool. Made my decision for me.
Yeah. Okay, perfect.
So at some point during the pregnancy, early on, I believe after the morning sickness ordeal, which finally went away around 16 weeks, I told Ethan, I can't find a home birth midwife. Pretty much told Ethan, like, we're just going to do this at home by ourselves. I can't find a home birth midwife, and I'm not having a baby in the hospital. Again, that was looking back. Like, at that point, I did know. I started seeing all of the things that weren't respected with my birth plan with Declan, and that was not the worst that it could have been. Like, I've heard some horror stories, and I was still not satisfied with my care.
And how old was Declan at this point?
He was, let's see, he breastfed until he was 16 months, and we got pregnant the month after. So that was, you know, my brain, when we go into the third, my brain was, oh, I can't get pregnant while I'm breastfeeding.
Yep.
So
it's funny all the things we learn.
Yeah, but so I knew, like, breastfeeding can prevent you from getting pregnant, but I knew it wasn't like a foolproof thing. Yeah. But me in my head, I was like, okay, I'm just one of those women that can't. Yeah. And it wasn't.
Well, because you had some infertility, so in your mind, it's.
Yeah. So that's where I was at. So anyway.
So you tell Ethan, I'm not doing a hospital. There's no midwives to be found.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm just going to do this at home. Told my family, and they were pretty supportive. And so anyway, the pregnancy was absolutely horrid. I was angry all the time. I was so emotional. I was having breakdowns after breakdowns after breakdowns. I had SPD really badly. There were multiple nights where I was hurting so much I could not take another step, and Ethan had to carry me to our bedroom. It was miserable. It really was. I hated being pregnant with Estelle. And then I finally, in my third trimester, decided to go see a chiropractor. At that time, we were pretty strapped for cash, so we couldn't really spend that money. And then finally, I was just like, I have to. We have to figure out how to make this work, because I'm dying here. This is just miserable. So we did. And it got better. It didn't go away, but it got better for sure. I was reading so much about SPD because I was like, this is not pelvic girdle pain. This is something else. And I was, when I was researching, I couldn't find anything except for on social media. Yeah. And so that's how I found out, oh, this is SPD. And so then I start searching on social media SPD, because that's the only place it was popping up. So that was miserable. And I had read one story, or one woman commented on, because I made a post, asking, like, what did you guys do? I'm miserable. I'm dying here. And one woman commented, she was like, oh yeah, I was in a wheelchair by the end. Oh. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be in a wheelchair.
I'm going to be wheelchair bound. Oh my gosh, you poor thing.
Yeah. So, I'm reading all of these things, and I'm sure that was part of why it was so bad.
Oh yeah.
and I was doing, the cat cows on the yoga ball. I was seeing a massage therapist when I started seeing a chiropractor because I was so miserable. And yeah, so I was really banking on, because I was also seeing a lot of women say like, oh, it went away immediately after the birth. And so I was really banking on that. It didn't go away after the birth.
I was going to say, and did it?
It did not go away after the birth. It was definitely not as bad because I didn't have all the weight, at least. But it did not go away after the birth.
Oh my goodness.
It did eventually, but and then it came back for my third pregnancy. But so and that birth was, it was incredible, but it was intense.
As fast births usually are.
Yes, because it was a 2.5-hour labor. Ethan was working a contract job, so he was working 3 hours away. I went into labor at like 5 a.m. or I started having contractions at 5 a.m. that woke me up. Yeah. And I was like, oh man, these are either really bad Braxton Hicks or this is the real deal. So I'm going to take a shower and see if they go away. And if they don't, then I'm going to have to just call mom, I guess, and just let Ethan know. And so I got out of the shower and they hadn't gone away, which the shower was my happy place through this pregnancy. Like anytime I was feeling sick, anytime I was in a lot of pain, anytime I was having a breakdown, I would go to the shower. Yeah. And I would just sit on the floor. Have my breakdown or just, whatever.
I love it.
So and that would usually stop my Braxton Hicks as well. So I got out of the shower. Contractions were only getting stronger. And so I called my mom to let her know, like, hey, I'm in labor. Ethan's working 3 hours away. I have nobody here with me. I need help with Declan. He wasn't awake yet, obviously, but I was going to need help with him.
Yeah, of course.
And Ethan wasn't going to be there for another at least 4 or 5 hours because, he's working. Yeah. So I called Ethan to let him know I was in labor while mom was on her way. Mom and dad were on their way. And he was like, okay, so do I need to like start heading that way right now? And I was like, I mean, I don't think she's going to be here in the next 3 hours.
Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, just start like telling everybody that you're going to have to go. And, and he was, another thing, he was carpooling with work
goodness.
Friends. And this was a whole thing. I was like, look, if I go into labor and you're carpooling with someone, like, what are you going to do?
Okay, so wait, how far along are you?
I was, so she came 9 days early.
Okay. So that makes sense of why he was still carpooling. Yeah. And because Declan came on or after his due date?
5 days before.
Okay, 5 days before. So now you're 9 days before. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right.
So, so he's starting to tell everybody at work that, he's got to go, and he's trying to get in touch with his carpool buddy to be like, hey,
oh my gosh,
you're going to have to drive me to my car. And
right now.
Yeah, right now. And oh my gosh, that's a whole other thing. But anyway, so he's kind of out of the picture for this whole labor and birth. And part of the postpartum.
Oh my gosh.
So my mom gets there, my dad gets there. Dad's starting to blow up the birth pool. Mom's like scrambling to help me get
anything
plastic over my bed because I was planning to have a water birth, but things were moving really fast and I was screaming through contractions.
Oh my goodness.
And the only places I wanted to be was on the toilet or on my ball.
Yeah.
Which, as we know, are both dilation stations. And
so you're expediting an already expedited situation.
Yes, but that's I only wanted to be on the toilet or on my ball. Yeah. And I was just listening to my body. Yeah. And she was ready.
Oh my gosh.
So
yeah. Had your water broken at like?
My water has broken during pushing in all 3 births.
Okay.
So I started putting out. I will say, this entire labor is so blurred together. Every stage is blurred together.
All my precipitous births were like that too. Yeah. You can't even think about breathing. It's just so fast and you're so in it instantly.
Oh, and I should also say that during the pregnancy, another one of my compromises with Ethan was we were going to have the midwife that attended my mom. She delivered 3 of my mom, of us, me included.
Yeah.
And she was retired now, but we had her come over. Ethan asked her questions. So we had planned on having her come. We landed on her coming after the birth just to help, assess baby, assess me, whatever. And that was my compromise with them.
Yeah.
Well, because things were moving so fast and mom was like, I don't know what to do. She gave her a call and she was like, hey, would you just listen? Because she's been in labor for like just over an hour and this seems pretty intense.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh yeah, I mean, she's definitely in active labor. Like this is moving fast. And the only reason we have the exact timestamp of when Estelle was born was because she was walking in and we caught her on my Ring camera as mom was catching Estelle.
Oh, that's amazing. That's awesome. I love that.
Anyway, my water broke while I was pushing on the birth ball. And again, I don't know, I only pushed 2.5 times.
Did you have an urge, like it was just moving so quickly that you just began to spontaneously push? Okay.
Yeah, my body just did it.
And you're sitting on your birth ball?
Sitting on my birth ball, still fully clothed.
Yeah, oh my goodness, Sydney,
So
oh my goodness.
my water breaks, mom helps me rip my pants off. I climb onto the bed instinctively, push once, her head's out, and I'm waiting, and I'm on hands and knees, and my mom's behind me, and I'm reaching back because I wanted to catch my baby. So I'm reaching back, and I'm like, how am I going to do this? And mom's like, yep, that's her head. And I was like, yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to
catch her.
And then 2 or 1.5 pushes later, I say 1.5 because it was like my body pushed once, and then it just was like one of those, what is it called? Where it's like
where
a
it's
double,
the contraction is the double peak.
Yeah.
A
It's
double
called
peak
something.
contraction.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's called something. So it was one of those contractions. And she was out, and mom caught her, and she's whooping and hollering, and
oh my gosh.
my dad's still in the living room
fidgeting with something, probably
trying to get the birth pool blown up.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
So Carol walks through the door. Mom's holding baby. You're in a daze, instinctual pause phase where I'm just like, that was intense. Coming back into my body. And I just squat back. I squat down on the bed, and I'm just like resting for a second. And I don't even register that Carol's walked through the door.
Oh my goodness.
Obviously. But let's see. I think before I started pushing, I was like, where is Ethan? And mom was just like, he's on his way.
Yeah.
And then after she was born, she was like, so they broke down.
No way.
Yeah. So he got to his car, and when he was on his way, he was like an hour out, his car broke down.
Oh my goodness.
So my dad had to go get him.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What in the world?
So,
that's so awesome.
He didn't show up until, 2 or 3 hours after the birth. I think it was like 3 hours, because he was showing up while I was on the floor trying to get the placenta out, and my placenta took 3 hours.
Long time to come out. Yeah.
But my body was so exhausted after that 2.5 hour labor that, I tried the squat and cough method. I literally could not cough. My body was like, no, you're not allowed to cough.
Wow.
So we ended up we put peppermint oil in the toilet, put a bowl in there, and it came out pretty easily. My mom helped with traction on the cord, and she just gave it a tiny tug, and it just went, oh.
Perfect. So it'd probably come out of your cervix and was just sitting in your vaginal vault, just hanging out.
Yeah. So that was her birth, and it was beautiful and amazing and perfect. And an hour later, because she was born at 7:35 in the morning, an hour later, we are all sat around in my living room playing Rummy Cube as a family.
I love that.
I felt amazing after that birth. I was so energized. I had zero pain. Like, I could not believe how good I felt. after that birth.
Yep.
Yeah. And it was insane.
And so redemptive, right?
Yes,
After the birth with Declan, to get to have that
Yeah.
beautiful,
Yeah. It was
redemptive birth.
Yeah. And Ethan, even with him missing the entire birth,
Yeah.
he was like, oh yeah, there's like no other way to do this because we didn't have the whole drama of the hospital and the having to get home and all the appointments and, you know,
Mm-hmm.
he was like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
So
Your own house, your own bed,
yeah.
your own food, your family that loves you,
Yeah.
nobody
was-
bugging you in the middle of the night.
Yeah. And it was just a beautiful day. It was
Amazing.
incredible. Yeah.
And your mom is still probably walking on cloud 9.
Yes, because she got to catch her namesake.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I
Yeah.
love that so much.
Yep.
Okay, so
So going into my third, we were not planning on trying yet. I was still breastfeeding Estelle. And she was about a year when we got the surprise pregnancy test. So we weren't planning, and in my head, I'm like, I'm still breastfeeding, so we can't really get pregnant anyway. And this is just, God loves playing jokes.
I love this
Yes.
so much.
So 2 days late, and I had just been telling everybody, like, oh yeah, we're not having another one anytime soon. Like, it's definitely in the cards for later, but not anytime soon.
Mhm.
Because I was planning to get into birth work and be a birth photographer and all of the things, you know. I was like, I'm about to start this new journey, so we're, you know, not even on our radar right now. Oops. And then a couple of weeks after I announced, Bryn shows me, Mom and Bryn are over at my house, and Bryn just shows me her phone. And it's one of those pregnancy apps with her due date.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, are you pregnant right now? You're pregnant too? Are you serious? No way. I knew you were pregnant because I've been telling her to take a test. She was having some weird symptoms.
Uh-huh.
And funny enough, the only time I have ever had a weird pregnancy craving was the day that I tested positive for Josephine, my third.
Really?
Yeah. So I had my appointment for the blood work. I go home. I see cookie dough and pickles in my fridge. And I'm like, that looks really good together. I'm going to do that. It was so good, Nichole.
I'm sure it was.
It was so good.
It doesn't sound good right now,
Yeah.
but I'm sure it was very tasty.
Yeah. And then a couple hours later, I just mindlessly take one of the pregnancy tests I had in there because I'm like, oh, I'm 2 days late for my period. Might as well just check.
Eating pickles and
normal.
cookie dough.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a dead giveaway right there.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
So,
you and Bryn are pregnant together.
yep. We're pregnant together, 2.5 weeks apart. And I was terrified of having an even faster labor than my second.
I remember.
Because again, I was reading on social media all the horror stories.
Yeah.
I had seen one comment where a woman was like, yep, I just had a 15-minute labor last week. And I was like, I will die. I will die. If I have a 15-minute labor, I will die. I was prepared again for another unassisted birth, the third. We did have a home birth midwife in our area when I was pregnant with Josephine, but it just didn't feel right. So when I'm pregnant with Josephine is when I get referred to you, and I'm interviewing you to be my doula.
Yeah.
And you're fully on board for the unassisted. You're like, oh yeah, like I have full confidence in your ability to birth.
Yep.
And of course you were like, just no, I'm not in any clinical role. I'm just there as a doula. This is, this is your thing. And I was like, oh yeah, I literally just want another set of hands because if I have an even faster birth.
Yep.
And
when I was the closest to you, your birth photographer was far away.
An hour away. Yeah. Ethan was thankfully working a lot closer at that time, but there's a difference between male support and female support in birth. And I crave female support.
Oh yeah.
My husband is great. He's a great birth partner because I tell him you're not allowed to speak. Don't say a word. Don't ask me questions. Just if I get a foot cramp, rub my foot. If I need someone to lean on, you just be there. Like,
Yeah.
I just want you to be a strong presence. That's it.
Yeah.
And he was, and he is. And that's what he was for my first. He was incredible. And that's what he was for this last one. And he was incredible.
Yeah.
But I crave having women there.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah.
Me too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, especially since now my sister is 2.5 weeks behind me in her pregnancy, my mom might not make it to one of ours.
Yeah.
And because my sister at this time was planning to have her baby in the hospital, and we know how that can sometimes be a longer experience. And if it's, you know, we have a history of precipitous birth and early birthers in our family.
Yeah.
So it's like, man, this is really going to be cutting it close. I'm not going to be able to 100% rely that my mom is going to be there
Right.
to help me through this birth. So,
Or even your husband, if you have a 10-minute birth and he's 30
Right.
minutes away on the line, you know.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yes, I was interviewing you. I was full on board. Like as soon as we left, like I was like, I'm sending her this deposit. Like she's the one. She's it.
Yeah.
And then you gave me the news.
I know. Just some backstory. I started school. Well, I started working with a midwife, a local midwife in the area. And part of my contract with her was that I could not attend free birthers as a doula. And then I started school, and part of my school contract was that I could not attend free birth as long as I was a student with them.
Yeah.
So that very quickly
Yep.
disqualified me from being with you in birth.
And I was sad, but I was also like, it's okay. She can come after the birth. It'll be all right. I do pretty good laboring on my own anyway. I'm not someone who wants to be touched. I really just wanted someone else there as an extra set of hands.
Yeah.
Because things went so fast with my second, and my mom was like scrambling to get things ready in the room and throw plastic down and get towels in the dryer and, you know, all the things.
Yep.
And if she wasn't going to be there, I was going to have to rely on my husband to do all of those things. And while he is a take charge kind of person in certain aspects, this would be one of those where he's going to be asking me questions, and I don't want to be asked questions while I'm in labor.
Yeah, and I feel like as women, we just, especially as moms and grandmas and aunties, we have a wisdom to see the room and read the room and be like, oh, we need a trash can here in case she vomits, and we need a tarp here in case she moves here, and we need this here. And we just instinctively do those things where a man probably isn't going to do that. It's just not how they're built. Yeah.
So this pregnancy I still had SBD, but not nearly as bad. It was very manageable because I started chiropractic care immediately.
Yes. This is a non-negotiable.
Yeah, I was like, I am not going through that again.
Yes.
And this was a surprise gender. And the entire time we were so confident it was a boy.
And this was a fully wild pregnancy.
Fully wild pregnancy.
Meaning you had no prenatal care outside of yourself.
Right. So I was doing my own blood pressure when I felt like I needed to. I have a history of very low blood pressure in pregnancy. I don't want to self-diagnose this, but I would even say borderline POTS in pregnancy. So I was doing my own blood pressure. I was upping my protein and salt to help counteract. And it was significantly helping. I have never had issues with my blood sugar, so I didn't do the fresh test. I had one on hand in case I, felt like, okay, something's not right, and if I needed to. And let's see what else. I didn't do a GBS because I'd never, tested positive for that either, and
no ROGAM this time.
No ROGAM.
Doppler or fetoscope?
I did fetoscope. I didn't want to do Doppler, so I did no ultrasounds with this one. I did one ultrasound with Estelle. So it was, very just uneventful pregnancy.
Yeah.
I just went about life.
Yeah.
And, obviously I was doing the chiropractic care and a little bit more self-care in the pregnancy so I could
maintain, not be bedbound.
Yeah. And I was definitely still emotional. in that pregnancy. But yeah, other than that, just no
Awesome.
drama. And it was amazing. And I really, really loved going to the birth classes and the birth circles and having that community.
Mm-hmm.
That was so rewarding to my soul. And yeah. So that labor, I was really dead set on having another Friday baby because Declan and Nichole were both born on Fridays.
I had most of mine on Sundays. Isn't that weird? Our body's
Yeah.
just like, we're going to go on this day.
Yeah. So I was dead set. And I was so scared of having such a fast labor that I was missing out on a lot towards the end.
Uh-huh. I remember.
Yeah. Because I was like, I don't want to drive 30 minutes to church and then drop a baby in the lobby.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to go to this really cool midwife event and drop a baby in front of everybody. But at least there would be midwives there.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that day exactly.
But
Totally.
this labor ended up being, I think it was 9 hours. So, and I think it was because I did so much prep work with my mindset with this labor.
Mm-hmm.
And with my last 2 labors, I was vocalizing through, I mean, obviously I was screaming through contractions with Estelle because it was so intense.
Yeah.
And I was just fighting every contraction with Declan. So I was, also yelling animalistically.
Yeah. Yeah, you were stressed.
Yeah.
Fear,
So-
tension, pain. Fear, tension, pain.
Yes, exactly. And while they were very different, like I was high-pitched screaming with Estelle because, your body.
You're trying to slow it down and hold that baby in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas with Declan, it was definitely a lot more like roaring, like an
Mhm.
animal type of
Yeah.
yelling. And then with this one, I had started, once I got into active labor, I had started vocalizing through the contractions. And my mom and Ethan were both like, they were just like, I felt like I was being hovered over
Mhm.
because it was so late. So it was like 8 o'clock at night or something, or 10 o'clock at night when I went into labor.
I was at another birth, and
Yeah.
your mom's giving me the play-by-play.
Yeah.
Because I still wanted to be there in spirit. I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. So sorry, I was just checking to make sure it was.
going.
So went into labor pretty late. My mom comes over pretty late. It was like a couple false alarms kind of, because I was like, this feels like it could be it, and I don't want to. I don't want it to go so fast that people miss it, but I also don't want to have everybody come and it not be the real thing, and then my
Yeah.
photographer has to drive here this late at night and then go straight back home. Like, that would
Mhm.
suck. I would hate that. So she ended up getting there pretty late. I think it was like just after midnight or something, because I was like, by 11:30, I was like, okay, this is it.
Mhm.
This is it. So I'm vocalizing through contractions. I'm doing the thing, listening to my body, moving the way however I want to move. I'm avoiding the birth ball
Yep.
because I know better this time.
You're like, let's take it a little easier.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And so at some point I'm like, okay, I need to reset here. And I go and I take a shower and I talk to baby and I talk to God, and I'm listening to Peace by Bethel just on repeat.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just getting in the zone.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm handling contractions so much better. And I get out of the shower and now I'm quiet through my contractions. And, I'm sitting, my hands on my knees, palms wide open through contractions, eyes closed and head lifted. And I'm chanting, no pain, no pain, no pain. And after every contraction, when I get out of the shower, because I was so quiet in there,
Yeah.
my mom and Ethan are both like, so are they getting more intense? Like, how is that one? How is that one? I'm like, you have to stop asking me questions.
Yeah. Because
So-
they're thinking it's fizzling out,
right.
but you're really harnessing the
Right.
power that is you.
Right. And I'm like, I'm in the zone now. You have to stop.
Yeah.
So no more talking.
I love it.
So at some point I lay down because it's in the middle of the night and I'm like, I think I want to get some rest.
Yeah.
And so I lay down and I get some sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And I have no idea when I went through transition. No clue. Absolutely no clue. Because when I woke up, I was ready to push.
I could probably look back and see, because I know your mom was
Yeah.
play by play,
Yeah.
like giving me the stats.
Yeah. Now, there was one instance where I threw up, but it didn't feel transition-like, and that was before I got in the zone.
Yeah.
And usually throw up is like telltale sign you're in transition. So
Yeah.
I know it wasn't then.
It can happen sometimes between early and active, just because the body's like, wait, what's happening? Oh, we're shifting.
And I've never been sick during a labor. That was a first for me. So I was like, interesting. Yeah. So yeah, I still have no idea when I went through transition, and I woke up ready to push.
Mm-hmm.
And I woke Ethan up and I said, hey, it's time. Like, I'm ready. I'm pushing.
Yeah.
Go tell mom. Go get the photographer. And so they come in, and I'm pushing for a few minutes. And I remember in the birth classes, I'm telling you, like, I want to catch my own baby this time.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, okay, great. Let me show you the position to try.
Yeah.
And so I get in that position, which is kneeling on one knee.
Yep.
One knee up, so I can, here, let me just.
Yeah. Do I have a dress on?
Watching the video, you can watch. But I'm kneeling on one knee with one knee up, so I can reach down and catch baby this way.
So semi-forward leaning, possibly tilting back a little bit as
and
you...
leaning my shoulder on my bed.
Yep.
For stability. And everyone's backed off, and I push, and her head comes out, and this is when I'm screaming, because I always roar my babies out.
Yeah.
So I'm roaring baby out, her head comes out, and then there's that pause, and mom's, I've got video of her, or she has video of me, and she's like, well, okay, what do we do? What do we do now? And I'm like, just wait.
Mm-hmm.
Just wait. And so one of the things that women like to do in labors is repeat themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, just wait, just wait, just wait. And that was my thing. I would repeat phrases 3 times. And that was just my silent ritual, I guess. Not silent, but ritual.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I push, I start pushing it to get her body out, and I'm holding her head. And this is the least I've felt FER. I'm actively pushing with my
fetal
body.
ejection reflex, in case you don't know what that stands for.
Yeah. So the contraction starts to fizzle out while her shoulders are being born, and I'm like, no, she's coming. I'm getting her out. So I continue to push.
Yeah.
Even after the contraction, and bring her to my chest. And I've got that instinctual pause, and I sit down, and Ethan's like, hang on, there's her cord. And I'm like shooing him away. I'm not registering what he's saying. And he's like, the cord. And I'm like, oh, it's okay. And I unwrap her. Because I know he's like freaking out. So I'm like, it's okay. Like, she's fine.
Excuse me.
She was already pinking up. She was crying. Like, she cried as soon as she came out.
Yeah.
So I'm holding her. I look down while I'm unwrapping the cord. And I'm like, it's a girl.
You're so shocked.
And we're all like, and mom is like, afterwards she was like, I wasn't even like thinking about what the gender was. I was just like so on cloud 9, like that birth high. But yeah, and we have some beautiful photos from that birth. Absolutely beautiful. The placenta still took like an hour with this one. But I did, because I was focused on, I wanted to be with baby. I wanted to nurse, and I was going to wait 3 hours before cutting the cord anyway. But I ended up squatting, pulling it out into a bowl, which was I was so much more educated with this birth that I felt so confident in every stage. And that really, really, really made a difference for me. I will say I was very, very educated in physiologic birth, like undisturbed, how things usually go, that kind of birth. Yeah. And that helped me significantly. I fully trusted birth at this point. I was so unafraid. Even with how fast things were moving with Estelle, it was intense, but I was never afraid. Yep. This was, around Stella's birth, I was fully indoctrinated into a certain free birth movement that was no intervention ever, no matter what.
Right.
And so I was so, I was listening. I was so immersed in all of the free birth stories, and I don't know. I just felt I was very confident in that birth still, and I was just so unafraid. And things did end up working out. Thank God, nothing happened.
Yeah.
And then going into my third, I had a little bit more understanding of, okay, so sometimes things don't always go right, but for the most part, if you're left undisturbed, things work.
Yeah.
So I was fully confident that things were going to work out still. And yeah, that really helped. That really helped with that. I will say, with this pregnancy, I was a lot smaller than my last two, or than my previous two. And she was 6 pounds when she was born. And she also had her fontanelles kind of like, it was the whole top of her head.
Yeah.
It was really big. And
a significant gap between the post and anterior fontanelles.
Yeah. They pretty much blended together. It was her and the entire top of her head. And that was a little like, something's not right there. I need to get that looked at. And I did take her to the local midwife for another assessment. And she was like, well, you didn't have any ultrasounds or prenatal care or anything, so there might have been some IUGR.
Which is intrauterine growth restriction.
Yeah. But she didn't have any concerns. I didn't feel like there was anything, like she was a normal baby.
Yeah.
And of course, when I'm like researching, like what in the world could a huge fontanelle mean? Like one of the things was like Down syndrome. And I'm like, she obviously doesn't have Down syndrome. And then a bunch of like other rare things, but IUGR never even popped up because that's Google, whatever. So that did make the most sense to me because I was so much smaller with this pregnancy, and I wasn't measuring my fundal height because I didn't feel it was necessary.
Yeah.
And by the time I was in my third trimester, it kind of doesn't matter after a certain point. And I was noticing like, man, my belly's not really getting a whole lot bigger here. So yeah, that was the only thing that was like, maybe something wasn't right there. But again, healthy birth, healthy baby, everything was fine. Thank God. And yeah, I was fully tapped into that intuition, and yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So what did you do with, well, I know what you did, but what did you do with the placenta this time around?
It is in my freezer.
Awesome.
Still in my freezer. She just turned 1 year old. And we are planning to bury it at some point when
Plant
we get
some
around
trees.
to it.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. But we waited 3 hours to cut the cord. And we did a placenta print when you came to inspect the placenta for me.
Yes.
Which the placenta was very small.
It was one of
the size of my hand. It was very small.
Yeah, one of the most dainty placentas I've ever seen.
Yeah. And she's the most dainty little girl, so
it suits her. Yeah.
She's still chunky because she's breastfed, but she's dainty.
Yeah, she's the cutest. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So.
Oh man.
Yeah. So Bryn comes over the next day because she was born in the middle of the night, like 3:49. Something. I don't remember. I've got it written down somewhere. But
yeah.
So yeah, Bryn comes the next morning. We spend some time together. As my whole family's there. My mom, dad, sisters, all that. And we eat. We hang out. Everyone goes home. And the next day, Bryn is sitting on the toilet and her water breaks.
Yep.
And so her baby was born 36 hours after Josephine. And I was so excited. I was so mad because I didn't make it to the birth because I wanted to photograph it for her. But
I feel like your mom and I did a pretty good job.
You did. But I wanted to do it.
I know.
I was just, the baby was born and I was like, I just want to go. I just want to go over there. they're going to do a newborn exam for Josephine anyway, so I'm just going to bring her over there. 2 birds, 1 stone.
Yep.
And yeah, so Nichole was at my sister's birth.
Yes.
Since she was working with the midwife that attended Bren, and yeah, and we did their newborn exam side by side.
It was my favorite day. I think because I grew up with a group of 3 sisters, and your other sister came over, so it was like this whole, you were all in the bed together with your new babies. It just felt so like farm, like anime, you know, like just it just it was like such a highlight for me. And I was on a birth high because we had 1, 2, 3, that was our 4th birth in like I think 6 days. Yeah. It was wild.
And that really kind of wraps up all of that in a nice little bow.
Yeah. I love having the full picture because I had bits and pieces. Yeah. But I didn't know a lot of Declan's preconception and all that you went through. Yeah. So that's awesome. Yeah. I love it.
All right. Until next time.
See you next time.
See you next time, guys.
Thank you for entering the birth room with us, a space where stories breathe, wisdom flows, and the veil between heaven and earth grows thin. If today's episode stirred something in you, we invite you to linger with it, to share it, to sit with it, to carry it into your own sacred spaces. Follow the Birth Room podcast and connect with us as we continue to remember, reclaim, and surrender birth together. Until next time, walk gently, surrender wholly, and never forget, birth is holy ground.